Hey there, Internet. My name's Luxander, and today I'm going to be telling you about having an IUD inserted because I think that this is important information to have in general. If you're trans, you might be looking into longer-term forms of birth control, and if you are any person who is able to get an IUD, whether you're trans or not, I'm here to tell you about how bad it is. I'm hoping that it is better, like it's worth it for the 5 years that it's going to be in there, but this is going to be a somewhat graphic account of the actual insertion, the aftermath of how my body handled it, and some discussion of like injury and vomiting and essentially sexual violence in a medical setting. So there's your trigger warnings. Well, let's start talking about it. Great. The prep that I was meant to do was essentially like my appointment was in the afternoon. I was meant to take ibuprofen the night before and the morning of. Now, I will admit, I took ibuprofen the night before and then forgot the morning of. I'm distraught over other things. The country's on fire. My personal life is on fire. I don't want to go into it. It's just not been a good time for me, right? So taking that into account, like technically ibuprofen was supposed to have made it easier. When I say that the pain was so great that I don't think ibuprofen would have even come close to making it better, like, believe me when I say that. You know, I've had period cramps. I've taken ibuprofen for period cramps. This was like something horrendous being done to my cervix. Okay, so I was already kind of feeling vulnerable emotionally before I went in, and it's like I waited for a long time just with my fucking pants off under the sheet thing. So it just was an increasingly vulnerable moment when I was already feeling bad. I had to sign a consent form that said, like, I understand that this could be painful and it could have these other, like, effects afterwards. But I don't think anyone adequately prepared me for how much it was going to hurt. Like, I wasn't adequately prepared. And that's what made it so that it felt so invasive. Like, they have to, like, I think she called it like sounding the uterus or something like that. Like, they have to put something up inside there and then like shove your cervix aside in order to check if your uterus is deep enough. Because the idea behind that is if your uterus is too small, then that's going to really dramatically increase the likelihood that the IUD is going to perforate or like put a hole in your uterine lining. So it's a necessary part of the procedure, right? It was horrendously painful. Like, I've been through painful things before, but like the way in which this was painful was so different and so deep, like so invasive. I struggle to contain it in words. So I was already vulnerable feeling when they were preparing. When they were preparing to start the procedure, I already was tearing up a little bit because I was just feeling very vulnerable. And then she starts doing the stuff and then like, she's like, okay, and this is the part that's really sucky. That's what she said to me. She said to me, this is the part that's really sucky. And then there were like at least 4 very distinct, sharp, intense, unfathomable pains that I had. Like, I cried. Like, I was like this. Like, there was a nurse in there that I didn't know. Like, the normal nurse that works with my provider was not there. So I'm just like, I'm like up like this, just like laying down, covering my face as I'm like sobbing. And at one point, like, toward the end, after she did this like intense thing like 3 or 4 times, I begged her to stop. Like, I didn't mean to say anything. I was like, I had been like this and I was like, after like the first and second and third one. And then like on the last one, I was like, stop. Like, it just came out of my body. I like begged her to stop in a moment of desperate pain. And afterwards, she told me that I should not look up what she had done. She was like, what I don't want you to do is go home and look up any videos of the procedure that I just did, because she basically was insinuating like it's graphic and it will upset you. She said something like, she was like, I do this and then I have to use this like claw thing and like, yeah, like just don't look it up. And I'm like, all right, fine. Like I have no interest in scarring myself further today. And sometimes you're like in shock and it takes a little bit of a delay to understand, like for your body to like understand something's happened. I mean, it's like if you get punched, you usually don't like bruise immediately, right? It like hurts initially and then it kind of like, you're like, I don't really know how it feels. And then you start to get a bruise and your face gets puffy or whatever. Like I've never been punched in the face. I'm describing injury in general. So I didn't understand. I was like, I had to drive myself home after this like actually traumatic experience. And I came home, I started getting nauseated in my car. Like I started feeling like I was going to throw up. And I got home and the nausea like increased and I was like, okay, I'm just going to go to the bathroom and try to throw up. And I did, when you're about to throw up and your like saliva gets all wet and your like body breaks out in like a full body sweat. I had that, but I didn't actually throw up then. So kind of once that episode had sort of passed, I was like, okay, I'm covered in sweat. This is disgusting. Like, I'm just going to go get in the shower. So I stood in the shower initially for a very short period of time. And then I sat down in the shower. And then I ended up lying down in the shower. And at some point, I put on the drain plug and just let the bath start to fill up from the shower water coming down from the shower head. And I just laid there. And I was in the bath for like an hour probably, like just chilling in the bath by myself. I dragged over the bathroom trash near the bathtub so that I could throw up if I needed to. I didn't need to throw up during the bath. I was just like catatonic. I was just laying there. Like I just couldn't get up. Like I just couldn't go anywhere or move. This would be a great time for my camera to not be a huge piece of shit. Thank you. So then after I like an hour or so, or like whatever, I had no idea what time it was because I didn't have my phone with me. I got dressed and I came back to my office here. And once I was here, I threw up in my office trash can. Like I just got on the floor and like I threw up all of the water. That was mostly what was in my stomach was water. I'm not eating very well right now. So, yeah, I threw up. And then after I threw up, I just sat on the floor there for probably 20 minutes. Like couldn't bring myself to get up to go to the bathroom to brush my teeth. Eventually I did get up and brush my teeth, but like the whole rest of the day, I just couldn't function. And like, I've been crying a lot lately because of things that have been going on in my life, but like this is really different, right? And like it does hurt and cramp after the fact, but like what I'm dealing with right now is like not really any worse than any of my period cramps. So like this part is not the part that sucks pain wise. Like the part that sucks right now is that I feel pretty confident that what I experienced could be qualified as sexual violence. Like I am personally like lucky that I've never been raped, right? So I guess it would be better for someone who has both had an IUD inserted without local anesthesia and has been sexually violated to maybe say more with more clarity that this is like sexual violence. But like I was not warned what was going to happen. I was not warned what it was going to be like. Not adequately, at least. Everybody's like, oh, if you take the ibuprofen beforehand, it'll be fine. Like, bitch, no, I know better. Are you fucking kidding me? Ibuprofen even coming close to touching that pain? Are you fucking serious? I'm sure that the anti-inflammatory aspects of ibuprofen would have made some kind of specific difference. But like, I was not prepared for how much it was going to hurt. Once you're in the stirrups and they have the speculum inside you, you no longer have any power over the situation. Like, what am I going to do? Like, while you're in there doing whatever horrendously painful thing you're going to do, what am I going to do? Like, get off the table? Like, what the fuck am I going to do? I don't have any power in that moment. Like, I'm potentially going to really injure myself if I don't just let you do what you are doing in your professional capacity. Especially now that I know that there was some claw involved that I don't want to know what it looks like. Yeah, I mean, like, and like being in pain with your sexual parts exposed, and your sexual parts are what's being subjected to pain, and like getting so fucked up by it that you beg for them to stop. And like, of course she can't stop. She's in the middle of a procedure. But yeah, like, I feel pretty confident that this is like a horrendous thing to do to people, and it's like sexual violence. And the way that my body reacted in the aftermath was like I had been intensely violated, because I had been. Like, I'm still not okay. This was yesterday as of the time of recording this. It's only been a day, and I'm not okay. Like, granted, that's also because of like, stop yelling at me. Cat's yelling at me. Hey, sir? Thank you. Anyway, yeah, so I mean, just like, this was a very intense experience, and I don't want to like scare anyone off of getting an IUD, but I will say, like, if you are going to get one, you really have to insist on some actual, like, genuine local anesthesia, if not to be put under completely. And then, like, obviously that's going to raise the price of every, like, anesthesia, whether it's local or not. It's going to increase the cost of the procedure and everything. But like, this is basically like, I'm basically like right now talking to you, processing my first genuine experience with sexual violence. Like, I've been grabbed by the pussy when I was in high school, but I am fortunate in having otherwise been safe from this kind of stuff. And like, being subjected to something that intensely painful and invasive without warning, like, even if they had refused to provide me with local anesthesia, and if they had just said, by the way, this is going to be really fucked up, like, do you want something to bite down on? Like, that would have made a difference. Just the honesty would have made a difference. And I really, 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 really feel like this was very mismanaged. Like, I don't know if it's because my provider is female. Like, I'm like, I don't know if it's because you don't have an IUD. Like, have you never had an IUD? Do you not understand what this is? Are women as a group, like, and females, like, generally just so used to intolerable amounts of pain being subjected to us by fucking everyone, including medical professionals, that like, we as a group can't collectively come together and say, like, this is fucked up. It's sexual violence. Like, it's horrendous. You shouldn't be doing this to people. Like, I'm not saying that the IUD itself is bad. It's an innovation. I'm glad that I'm going to be protected from pregnancy. Like, right now, I take this dumbass pill, and I have to take it every day at exactly the same time. And if I'm late by 3 hours, then I could potentially get pregnant. And usually it's an ectopic pregnancy with the type of birth control that I'm on. So I had to take Plan B earlier this year just because I happened to miss my pill one day. I'm like in a monogamous relationship, and I had to take Plan B. Because of the risk of ectopic pregnancy. Lulz. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess I don't know like what else to say here. Oh yeah, one other thing that I thought of. They told me, like, you will probably be spotting for the next couple days. Like, if you're a person who has periods, you know what spotting is. If you don't have a uterus, then spotting is like, sometimes you'll just have a teeny tiny little bit of blood. And it's not like your period. Sometimes, like, when people get pregnant initially, like when the little zygote implants itself into the side of the uterus, that's such an invasive process that it bleeds a tiny bit, and then you spot, which is just like you bleed a tiny little bit. So they told me I was going to be spotting, and they gave me a pad to wear when I left, and I didn't realize until I got home that means that they made me bleed inside, and they knew they were going to make me bleed inside, and they did not offer me any anesthesia or like an opioid or any meaningful pain management. Oh, yep. Subscribe, check the Patreon. This is automatic. I didn't put it here. It just rolls on my Streamlabs, but do it. So yeah, I mean, I'm sorry if this video has been kind of disjointed and had a lot of filler words. I might edit out the filler words and I might not. This is fucked up. Like, I feel fucked up. I already felt fucked up because of everything happening in the country and in my personal life. And like, my cat died a month and a half ago. You know, listen, I'm not trying to cry during this recording. This is so bad. Like, on top of everything else. If I had been prepared, I think it would have been better. Like, I think I would have been okay. More okay, at least. But, like, it still hurts so badly that I think it's unconscionable that we don't provide better healthcare for this. So, yeah, like, I'm not trying to put you off. If you need long-term birth control, like, I'm not ready to have a hysterectomy because I'm not, like, ready to give up on potentially having kids permanently. Although, given my reaction to the pain of what I experienced yesterday, it's entirely possible that I am not mentally or physically able to have children. Like, I don't know if I have, like, the stomach for that shit because of how badly my cervix hurt during the procedures and everything. But when I was seeking the IUD, I didn't have any. I was like, I'm not ready to get the full hysterectomy. You know, maybe now I might consider it. But, you know, I don't feel at this moment ready to permanently give up my fertility. So it's good to have the option. I would say if you talk to your doctor about getting an IUD and they refuse, if you ask for local anesthetic, which you need to, if they say no, then you have to either find a different medical provider who will give you local anesthesia, or you need to consider a different method, I would say. Unless you're willing to go through, like, if you've already had a kid, maybe your 10 is higher than my 10, you know, as far as, like, most painful things I've ever experienced in my life. Previously, I would have said, like, one of the most painful things that I've ever experienced in my life is getting this tattoo because of where it is on my wrist there. And then, like, I have a cut that had to have stitches here, and the lidocaine that they stabbed into it, so the lidocaine makes it numb, but it burns like fire first, and that shit hurt really bad. Like, my 10 was not ready for this. So maybe if you've had a child already, your pain tolerance or your personal experience with pain has already, you know, gotten up here. And so maybe the IUD would be more tolerable for you. But I would say that I generally would recommend, if you cannot get local anesthetic, I cannot recommend that you get an IUD. Like, I can't, in this moment, feeling the way that I feel and having gone through what I've gone through and, like, the aftermath of that and the entire day yesterday and the entire day today. Like, hi, it's Tuesday. I'm supposed to stream tonight. Guess what I'm not doing tonight? Like, I am going to be catatonic for the rest of the day after recording this video. I'm going to watch the first episode of House of the Dragon over and over again until I die. I'm fine. Like, I think I'm going to be okay. When I initially got home and tried to throw up that first time, like, I was genuinely like, I might need to go to the hospital. Like, I don't know if the way that I feel right now is okay. Like, I don't know if it's all right. I didn't end up going to the hospital, and I ended up feeling a little bit better, but I'm like, my body was in shock, I think, was the problem. Yeah, so don't have much else to add. That was horrible. And I hope that you are able to make more informed medical decisions from this content. That's the entire goal. Informed medical decisions. And, like, post-processing of my first real experience with sexual violence. At least that's how I feel about it. Feel free to fucking argue the point in the comments, I guess. I'm sure someone will. But I guess that's all I have for you today. So thank you so much for watching. Like, subscribe, share the content if you know someone who needs to know this. And have an okay day. I don't remember how to do outros anymore now that I'm a streamer. Thank you so much to my patrons for making this work possible. I want to especially shout out Tiago Nascimento, Mersh Rolvog, Maurice Taylor, Jovian F. Gaudreau, Heather Clarkson, Amanda B., R. Halverson, Athiet, Sarah A., Wellington Marcus, Michelle Winter, Decoy Duck, Nova, Suzanne Maynard, Elizabeth Bartell, Mr. Atheist, and Bean.